Welcome to Just Minding My Business Media. I hope that you are having an amazing day. And I am so excited to bring to you today Jeff Greenfield, who is a three-time entrepreneur, advisor, and innovator with 30 years of experience driving growth at the intersection of marketing, measurement, and strategy. Today, he's leading Provalytics, a privacy-centric AI-driven attribution platform designed to solve marketing's most pressing challenge. There is no single source of truth. Wow. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you so much, Ida. It's a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have you. All right, well, let's jump right in. So why marketing lacks a single source of truth? Let's go there first.
Well, there's no single source of truth because we're spending dollars at different places. And
Mhm.
every time we spend money at a different place, they have an opinion on how well it performed. Let me give you a good example because this kind of underscores it all. And this all comes from this saying. There's this famous quote in marketing, which is half the money I spend as marketing is wasted. The only
Mhm.
problem is I don't know which half. And that's something that has bothered marketers for years. So here's a great example. Let's say you created this incredible new garden hose. It never leaks. It's the best garden hose. Everyone loves it. And you decide you're going to start running ads on Facebook, which would also be ads on Instagram. You got this great video, and then you got a cool name for it. So you run ads on Google. So if somebody is searching for it, they would find it. So someone comes along, they're scrolling through their Facebook feed and they start to take a look and they see it, they pause for a second, but they don't click on it or do anything. It just gets their attention. And then about a week or two later, they're going through Instagram and they see the video again because you're running ads there too. And you're actually showing ads to people who like paused and noticed it. And they watch the whole video. And this person says, my God, this hose is great. When my hose starts to leak, I'm going to get this hose. So then about a month later, they're out doing some gardening. They go to open their hose up and it leaks. And they're like, my God, I got to get that hose. And they pull up their phone and they're like, they search for it in Google and they click on the ad and they buy it. Okay. So
Mhm.
we know what happened. What happened is that it was the ad on Facebook that got their attention. It was the ad on Instagram that really built their awareness and got them to the point where they really wanted to have it. And all the ad on Google did was kind of just navigate them to your website to buy. That's all that happened there. But here's what happens is that if you're the marketer and you multiply that like 1,000 times over a month and you have 1,000 sales, at the end of the month, Google is going to tell you that they got you all those sales, and so is Facebook. So if you add them both up, they're going to tell you you had 2,000 sales, not 1,000 sales. And then the problem is that if you're using something like a Google Analytics 4, GA4, it's going to tell you that all those sales came from Google because that's the only thing somebody clicked on. And so marketers are confused, like, okay, well, which one's correct? Is it Facebook or is it Google? And what a lot of marketers do because they use GA4 is they say, okay, Facebook's not working. I'm going to move all my money over to Google. But the problem is the only reason you searched on Google is because you saw the video on Instagram and the video on Facebook. But what
Mhm.
happens is if you cut your spend on Facebook and Instagram, you're not going to notice it right away because that whole journey that we talked about was about a month and a half. It took someone a month and a half to have that awareness and attention and get them through there. So now that's just a simple example. Like if you owned, if you had this cool hose that you were selling. Now imagine you're like a big company, like some of our clients that are spending in the tens to hundreds of millions of dollars a year. And you're not just at Facebook, Instagram, and Google, you're also on connected television, podcast advertising, influencers. And every place you spend dollars has an opinion on how well of a job they're doing because they don't know about everybody else. And that's the problem is that, and now multiply it even more. as a marketer, you want to get more money to spend. And when you march into finance with all these numbers, they laugh at you because your numbers don't even add up. In that example, you only had 1,000 sales. Your math says you had 2,000. So this is the problem for today's modern marketer. There's more places to put our money, but it makes the problem just so difficult.
Well, I really like how you explained that.
Oh, thank you.
And the hose was perfect because I scrolled on TikTok and my hose busted. So now I need to buy a new hose.
There you
So
go.
I can definitely relate. So, what does your company do to help get rid of the confusion?
Well, what we do is that, as you said earlier, we actually come in and we take in data from all of these different places, but we don't trust their math because we know their math is wrong. And so what we do is we take in the reports on what you actually did. How much money did you spend each day? Which ads ran? What was the name of the campaign? And more importantly than anything else, more important than clicks, because most people don't click on ads anyway, is how many ads did you show every day? Because that is what you're actually doing. When you spend dollars, you're actually trying to get attention. And
Mhm.
so the best measure of that is how many ads were shown. And we take all of that data from all of the different places. And then we also take in how many orders you had, what was your revenue that came in, and any other things like if you're selling on some of the marketplaces, like how many things did you have in stock? How many different items did you have? Because if, if you go into a clothing store and you walk in and let's say you're a size medium and you walk up and they've got no mediums, well, you're not going to buy anything. So availability of product has a lot to do with it. So we take all that in and we apply very sophisticated machine learning and AI to figure out what we call the incremental impact, meaning for all of those places that you're spending dollars, how many sales did each one of those bring in that you would have not received if it wasn't for that particular ad? And that's what people want. They want to know it because for a lot of businesses, if they completely stopped advertising, their business wouldn't go away. People are still talking about them. They've been around for a long time. But
Mhm.
there's a percentage of your sales that comes from advertising, not all of it. If you're brand new, of course, all of it. But if you've been around for a long time, you're going to come, sales are going to come in anyway. And you may already have existing customers. What folks are interested in is that if I spend $1 in this place, how many sales is it going to generate for me? And what is going to be my incremental revenue that's going to come in? We calculate that and then we tell them what works, what didn't work as well as you thought it did. And then we provide recommendations on how to move your money around so that you get more sales, and that's what we do for them. And then this becomes the new source of truth, if you will, for the organization, for the marketers to use, for finance to use, so that they can have honest conversations because the numbers, they all add up now, which is what people want.
Yes, absolutely. Wow, you explained that so simply.
Oh, thank you.
And I know the work behind it is tedious. And for most companies, it's even more tedious. So having your company around definitely makes that part of life a whole lot easier, for sure. So if businesses want to work with you, how do they connect?
Well, the best way is to go to our website, provalytics.com. They can also go to just make it easier, get Prova. That's GET. Prova.com. Prova is actually proof in Italian. And what people want to know is, I need proof before I'm going to spend more money. I need proof that this actually worked.
Mhm.
And the best way is to go there and check us out there to learn more.
Okay, so prior to us going online, we were talking a little bit about the companies that you serve. So, can you tell everyone which companies you serve?
Oh, we work with great, great marketers. We tend to keep our clients private by their request. So we have clients that we work with day in and day out, but for most of them, we tend to be like a hidden secret, if you will. And so because they trust us with their data, and it's important for them that we don't reveal any detail secrets about it. And one of those requirements is that we keep them quiet. But I can tell you that we've worked with some of the biggest names in the industry, such as the JP Morgans of the world, the US banks of the world, and so on and so forth. We've been in this space since 2008.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you are, I know we talked about CFOs and finance leaders.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about how you serve them in your
Well,
company.
yeah, that's a great question, Ida. For them, when they look at their P&L every month, one of the biggest line items in the P&L, besides headcount, the number of people that are working there, is the marketing expense. And the problem is that it tends to be a blind item for them. And the reason is because for the data that marketing provides, it doesn't seem like that there's any proper attribution that's being provided, that they know or that they actually believe the marketers know that this actually drove sales. And there's definitely no incrementality behind it, as we talked about before.
Mhm.
So finance for years has been wanting to get a handle on understanding what's actually going on and where is the waste at in the marketing. Because when you're a finance leader, what ends up happening is that you have to make sure the numbers work every quarter. And sometimes that means as you're progressing through the quarter, you need to cut some places. But you don't want to cut any place that's going to impact growth, because in order to hit your number, you have to have a certain amount of growth, but you also maybe have to have a certain amount of profitability or EBITDA or something like that. And so for them, we come in, do a similar service that we do for marketers, but specifically it's more of a marketing accountability audit, where we come in and we look at the trends that are going on with the data, analyze and let them know where are areas which are not incremental, where are their dollars being spent, where those dollars they could actually stop spending on and it would not impact sales or any KPIs at all. And so that lets them know these are areas where money can be taken away from marketing and deployed elsewhere to help the
Mhm.
overall organization. So that's the service that we provide marketing, sorry, for finance, to help them get a handle on understanding what's actually happening on the marketing side of the house.
Yes, yes. And that's critical, to be able to have that support as opposed to pulling your hair out trying to figure it out.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes, yes, indeed. Wow. So let's talk a little bit about CTV.
Yes.
Okay. And why channels like CTV, podcasts, and retail media matter, but are notoriously hard to measure.
Well, the biggest thing is that since most marketers today are focused on clicks, clicks are the big thing. And the reason is because they're easy to measure. You can always tell that when someone came to your website, you can count that click. But the problem is that most of the emerging marketing channels today don't have any clicks associated with them. A
Mhm.
great example is podcast advertising. We're on a podcast right now. There may be ads running in this, I don't know. But if there
Mhm.
are, people are listening. There's nothing for them to click on. And even when you're watching a podcast on YouTube, even though there's ads there and people can click on it, most of YouTube today is being watched on a big television. It's not a clickable thing. So most of that type of advertising is not click based. And so that's podcast advertising, connected television, which is also like streaming as well, like Amazon Prime, Netflix, nothing to click on. And then also, old style billboards, they now call digital, they used to call it out of home. They now call it digital out of home. So you could put a billboard up. It used to be you had to have a billboard designed and then you had to have them made and shipped out. Remember, they used to paste them up.
Yes.
Well, now you can have that designed by someone in Fiverr in a couple of minutes, and you can order up billboards all over the country through a whole digital network of billboards. And so all of a sudden, like within an hour, you could show up on the highway someplace. But guess what? There's nothing for anyone to click on. Now, I know people put QR codes on billboards, probably not a smart thing because you don't want drivers like trying to QR code a billboard at 55 miles an hour. Not really good. So again, these are some of the largest growth areas in marketing today, and yet there's nothing to click on. And that makes them impossible for folks that are measuring using GA4. That's why you need to have a single source of truth that incorporates everything, that looks at what's driving the attention, which is those, how many ads are out there. And with out of home like that, guess what? They tell you how many cars drive by every day. So you've got those numbers that are readily available. And that's why those channels are difficult to measure, because they're not click-based.
Mm. So, you know what my next question is?
What?
How does your company use the data from those resources for measurements?
Well, what we do is that we look at, it's all based on the understanding of how marketing works. So as we talked about a minute ago with the click, most marketers today that have only done digital, that haven't been around, before there was digital marketing, their belief is you invest dollars to buy clicks, and clicks lead to sales. But the reality is you actually buy media, you invest dollars to buy attention. And that attention, you do that attention to build awareness. And when awareness is built up enough, people will walk into your store. And if your store happens to be online, that's clicks. And then that leads to sales. And
Mm.
so clicks are way down at the bottom. So the way that we do it is we're way at the top. We're focused on that attention metric. And the way we do that is we look at how many ads are you actually having out there every single day. And oddly enough, this is an old school metric. This is not anything like brand new. What's new about it is how we're utilizing AI, machine learning, and super fast computers to deliver the data. That's what's new about it. But the technique are the same techniques that brands like BMW and Pepsi and Coke use to build their big business machines over the last 60, 70 years.
Yeah, because before there was computers, that's all we had was billboard and TV.
That's right.
And just so happen to ride by if it's a brick and mortar and see it.
That's right. Exactly.
Yes, yes, indeed. So let's go over the AI and how machine learning provides probabilistic truth when deterministic tracking fails. I
Yeah.
think
So
you
this is,
touched a little bit on it.
yeah, we did, but that's it. It's pretty exciting because it's also kind of scary for a lot of marketers too, because, it used to be, before all these privacy changes, there was what we called a lot of signal, meaning there was a lot of information you could get. But now, since the lockdowns, they've kind of reeled all that in. So there's not as much signal. There's a lot more noise that's out there. And so what we have to do is, there's a lot of gaps. And so we use AI essentially to fill in those gaps and to help us complete the math so we can accurately figure out what's working and what's not working. And essentially the way it actually works is it looks at all of the data, and it actually turns out that most marketers don't know that they're running, unbeknownst to them, thousands of little experiments every single day, because every day you never buy the exact same number of ads. Things change a little bit every day, but they're so small that someone with the calculator couldn't figure it out. But a super smart, super fast computer with some AI can determine what's actually working from that. And that's really the key and the secret behind it, is that.
Mhm. Yes, but AI plays a significant role in every business now. Whether it's creativity, you know, uh, like you just said, putting the pieces together, analyzing data. It's a huge, huge tool. A
It
very
is.
good tool.
It's a tool that's emerging at a very fast pace. What's interesting that you'll find amazing, Ida, is that I was on a call with a series of other industry folks probably about a month or two ago, and we interviewed about 8 young people, 14 to 16 years of age, from different parts of the US and also from different parts of the world to find out how they were using AI. And my other colleagues were asking questions like, how do you use it? Which engine do you use? Perplexity or ChatGPT? How much are you using Google? Those were their questions. My question revolved around the question that most people are wondering, which is most of us are saying, my God, this stuff is moving so fast. I can barely keep up. I asked them, does it feel like it's moving as fast to you? And they all said no, that it just felt like technology to them. And that's when I realized that when we were 16, there was stuff that was going on in our world and technology. It obviously was not as advanced as it is now, that folks who were in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s were freaking out about.
Yeah.
That to them, it was moving really fast. So it's all based upon your perspective and in terms of how you look at it. But this is technology. Technology is always continuously reinventing itself, but it's not really moving that fast. It just feels like it is, uh, just based upon where we're sitting at.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because for me, I'm a tech person. So I view it differently than somebody else. It's an
Well,
opportunity to streamline my life in so many different ways in the work that I do. That's the way I look at it. So
exactly.
I embrace it. At the same time, I do realize that there are some dangers that you need to be aware of.
Yeah, well, it's like any tool. Anything that's good, the reason we define it as good is because it could also be a bad side to it.
Yes,
Anything. It's like
absolutely.
it's like a car. A car is awesome. It helps us get someplace fast, faster than if we walked or rode our bike or something. But the
Mm-hmm.
bad side is if we're not watching where we're going, we may hurt ourselves or someone else. So in order for something to be positive, there has to be a downside to it as well. That's anything in life.
Yes, the world works on negative and positive.
That's exactly right. Just like we only call it day because there's a nighttime. If there
Right.
was no night, we wouldn't call it day.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. This has been amazing. So, Jeff, one other question. So, if a company reaches out to you, what are some of the, I guess, intake type questions or processes that your company goes through?
Yeah, so when we first start working with someone, we find out who their different agencies are, what channels are they advertising in, what are they spending on average each month, and then we get connections to each of those platforms and then kind of automatically suck in that data into our platform. Some data you can't get automatic because it comes from behind their pipelines and stuff like that. So it gets delivered to us through a bunch of different mechanisms so that we can get a handle on it. That's usually the initial intakes or that, but that gets the pipes running and that allows us to do the math. But also at the same time, when folks come to us, there's usually a series of questions or problems that they're facing. And, with good organized data and the type of output that we have, there's 1,000 different problems that we can solve. So we try to focus on what is the number one thing that you're looking to accomplish with this. So those are kind of the big intakes for us.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and that's just what I'm liking is companies like yours. It just takes the pressure off. Of,
Well, that's exactly right. Marketers tend to be very creative people.
mm-hmm.
marketers went to school because they want to come up with big ideas and they want to help clients move along. And unfortunately, most marketers today are actually doing more math than the finance people because they're trying to put these numbers together that don't make any sense. And it's like most of them are very frustrated because they're like, if I'd known there was this much math in this, I would have never gone in it. So our philosophy is let our platform do the math. It's designed for that so that you can be more creative. That's really the plan behind it. Let us do the heavy lifting, or let our platform do it for you.
Yes, yes. And that sounds good to me because
Yeah.
I try to take as much off my plate as possible.
Well, that's super smart. And that AI can definitely help with that. Definitely.
Oh yeah, I basically know that. I mean, AI is my friend.
Yep.
So again, how do businesses connect with you?
They can go to getprova.com. That's GETPROVA.com, or they can also look me up on LinkedIn as well. Either one works for us.
Oh, okay. Well, this is definitely, you have dropped so many gems today, in such a short period of time. It's like, I don't know what else to ask you. Because you've covered everything that's important to the business owner to be able to, analyze where their marketing dollars are going.
That's exactly right. And then also tell them how they can take that same amount of money and squeeze more return out of it, which that those are the two functions as a marketer. One is to report on what happened, and then to report on, hey, this is what I'm going to do with it, and this is what I'm going to get out of doing that.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
we've got it all covered for them.
Yes, it sounds like you do, Jeff. So
Thank you.
again, how do businesses connect?
They can go to getprova.com. That's GETPROVA.com, which means to get proof, or they can find us on LinkedIn.
Oh, okay. Wow, this has been amazing, Jeff. You brought it today. So we thank you
Well,
for
thank you
sure.
so, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. And thank you, audience, as always, for tuning in. We appreciate you too.